Alrighty, students, it's Mr. Arevalo with a brand new lesson. And for today's lesson, we're going to focus on 9.1, relate tenths, and decimals. Okay, and we are moving into a new chapter, so that is a good thing. There are only chapter 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 left in this school year. So we're more than halfway done. Okay. Going into box 2, our mathematical practice. For today's MP, I want us to focus on MP6, which is attend to precision. Okay. And again, this simply just means to double check your work when you finish it. If you have some extra time, you want to go back and just look at your work and make sure that you did everything correctly. Okay. Going into box 3, our purpose. Today we will record tenths as fractions, and decimals. Okay. Give you some time to write that down. On the bell, you know what to do, starting with the word today in 3, 2, and today we will record tenths as fractions and decimals. Awesome job, class. Great job. Going into box 4, our APK, activating our prior knowledge from the previous lessons. I know a lot of you kind of had a difficult time with this, so let's see if you guys remember how to do these. And the instructions read as multiply, okay? So we have a whole number times a mixed number. So I have, in our first APK problem, I have 2 times 1 and 3/6. Okay, and in order to multiply these, I must rename this mixed number into a fraction. So remember the steps that a lot of you kept forgetting, okay? First, I multiply 1 times 6, and I get 6. Then I add 3, and I get 9/6, okay? Mr. Arevalo, am I done? No, remember, we have the 2, okay? We need to multiply the 2 times 9/6. And 2 times 9 is 18, okay? That's going to be 18/6. And then when I divide those, right, I have to divide. I can't leave it as an improper fraction. How many times does 6 go into 18? That's going to be 3 times, okay? If I subtract, I get 0. My answer is 3. Okay, hopefully you were able to get that. And again, if you didn't, try to figure out where your mistake is at. Because just because we finished the previous chapter doesn't mean that you won't see these problems anymore, right? When you take your state tests, they're definitely going to be there. Okay, so if you're so confused, please make sure you ask me. Going into our next APK problem, we have 3 times 2/4. Sorry, 3 times 2 and 2/4. So going on, again, I need to rename this mixed number into a fraction. So I multiply, 2 times 4 is 8. Then I add, 8 plus 2 is 10. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 10/4. 3 times 10 is 30. Denominator stays the same of 4. Now I can divide this, right? How many times does 4 go into 30? And that's going to be 4 times 7. I do get 28. Okay, subtract those. Borrow from the 3, it becomes a 2. This 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. I get 7 and 2/4. Mr. Arevalo, can we reduce that? Can we put it into simplest form? Yes, you can, okay? In simplest form, it does equal 7 and 1/2. And remember, I got that by dividing the 2 and the 4 by 2, okay? Great job if you got both of those. I'm very proud of you, okay? Going on, box 5, our vocabulary words. Mr. Arevalo, the vocabulary words finally changed. Yes, they did, class, okay? So our first vocabulary word is going to be a decimal, okay? We are moving into decimals, and I like decimals. Hopefully you guys find them pretty appealing as well. Decimals, okay? A number that uses a decimal point. I'm just going to put a little circle, dot, okay? It's not a period. It looks like a period, but it's a point, okay? That uses a decimal point and digits, okay? And digits to represent tenths, hundredths, etc. Okay, for example, if I'm referring to this little chart over here, right? If I look right here, I have ones, then I have a decimal point, then I have tenths, then I have hundredths, okay? So underneath the ones place, I have a 0, so I would just read it as 0 point, okay, that is a point, 7, right? 0.7. And if it wasn't in this little chart, it would just look the same. It would just be 0.7, okay? 0.7. Alrighty, going on, okay? Our next vocabulary term is going to be a decimal point, okay? Decimal point. Ha ha, and I provided the space for you. I did not forget the space this time, okay? Decimal point, this is a symbol used to separate the ones and tenths, T-E-N-T-H-S, tenths place in a decimal, okay? For example, I'll kind of show you real quick. The symbol is right here. This is our decimal point. Does it look like a period? Yes. Is it a period? No, it's not a period, okay? It's a decimal point. So basically, what the decimal point does is it separates, right? It separates our ones from our tenths, okay? That's what I need you to understand. That's why it's so important, okay? And lastly, our last vocabulary word is going to be equivalent. This shouldn't be new to you, okay? You should know what equivalent means. Equivalent. Alrighty, an equivalent means having the same value, okay? Having the same value. For example, if I look over here to my right, I have 0.30, and this is equal to 30 over 100, okay? Mr. Revlo, where'd you get the 30 from on the top of the fraction? Where'd you get the 100 from on the bottom? Don't worry, okay? I will go over this. Okay, I know decimals is new to some of you, okay? But we will cover this right now. But all I need you to understand, that equivalent just means that they're the same. And what I'm saying is that this 0.30 is equal to 30 over 100. They're the same thing. They're just written differently. One of them is written in a decimal. The other one's written in a fraction. Okay? Going on. Box 6. Okay? Box 6 says, well, first I need my critical attribute, right? This is our main component of today's lesson. And it's a simple lesson. Okay? I promise you. It's very simple. So step 1. We are going to look at the denominator. So if we have a mixed number, or if we have a fraction, whatever it is, we need to look at the bottom number, which is the denominator. And in this case, my denominator is a 10. Okay, you guys can see right there, it's a 10. So now, I'm going to convert this mixed number into a decimal. And the way that I do that, okay, is that I simply just write 4.8. Okay, Mr. Revlo, where did the 4 come from? The 4 came from my whole number right here, okay? That's how I got the 4. Mr. Revlo, where did the 8 come from? The 8 came from right here, okay? That's how I got that, 4.8. Mr. Revlo, do I need to do anything with the 10? Well, you're not doing anything per se with the 10, but the 10, when I see it as 4.8, I know that it's 4.8 tenths, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. If there was 100 right here, or for example, let's say I had it written as, actually I don't want to get into the hundredths yet, because that's tomorrow's lesson and I'll be getting a little bit ahead of myself, okay? We'll just leave it as that. But again, if you have any questions, just let me know if you're a little bit confused, okay? And step 3 is our last step, which is this attend to precision. Remember our mathematical practice number 6, okay? And that just simply means double check your work. Double check, double check, double check. Okay? And again, I told you this would be pretty simple. Okay? Going on to box 7, our example. Alrighty. So our example problems read as write the fraction or mixed number as a decimal. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is look at my step 1. And again, step 1 says look at the denominator. I have a 10 right here, okay? That's a 10. Now step 2 says convert it into a decimal. Well, I'm just going to write it as 0.3. Mr. Revel, do I add another 0? No. Okay, you do not, because this is in tenths, right? I have 0.3 tenths. How do you know it's in tenths? Because I look at the denominator, and that's a 10, okay? Remember, the decimal point right here, this decimal point is separating, right? It is separating. Let me do it in a different color. It is separating the ones from the tenths, okay? From the tenths. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. So I have 0.3. Alrighty, going on into our next example problem. This one is a little bit different because it is a mixed number. But again, the rules or the steps are the same. First thing I do is look at the denominator. That's a 10. Okay, now I'm going to convert it into a decimal. So when I convert it into a decimal, I'm going to write my whole number first. Okay, so I'm going to just write this over here. 30 point. Okay, 30 point. Then I look at my numerator. Okay, that's going to be 8. So it'd just be 30.8. Okay. Do I have to write anything after that? No, I'm done. Okay, it's just 30.8. Remember, decimal in the middle, separating the ones from the tenths. Okay, and that's it. Okay, pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. Alrighty, going into box 8, our non-example. Where's the mistake at? I'll give you some time to go ahead and talk to your partner real quick. Try to figure out. I have 24 and 5/10, and they're saying that this is equal to 24.50. Okay, 24.50. Alrighty, and I think that's enough time because it's pretty simple. So again, look at the denominator. That's a 10. Uh-oh. Right here, though, they added another 0. Okay, and we would only add a 0 right there if the 10 in our denominator was 100. Because what this 0 is saying is that this is in hundredths, okay? Hundredths, that's hundredths. Okay, but we're not working with hundreds, at least not yet. So I need to cross out this 0, okay? Cross it out, cross it out. It should have just been written as 24.5. Remember, 24 came from our whole number, and then the 5 came from our numerator, okay? Pretty simple. Alrighty, box 9, our critical attribute connection steps. So step 1, we are going to look at the denominator, okay? Look at the denominator. Step 2, okay? We are going to convert it into a decimal, okay? And by it, okay, I mean we're going to convert the mixed number or the fraction into a decimal, okay? I should have been a little bit more concise with my step right there with the instructions, but regardless, you understand what I mean. Okay, and our last step, step 3, is we need to attend, right? Attend to precision. Precision, precision, okay? And those are the steps, okay? Going on into box 10, our sample problems, write the fraction or mixed number as a decimal. And most of you are probably done with this because it's pretty simple, right? So again, look at the whole number. I'm going to write my whole number. I write 1 point. Then I look at my my numerator. Decimal won't help you if you look at the decimal point, right? Look at the numerator. That's a 1, 1.1, and remember, step 1 was obviously look at the denominator. I know that it's in tenths, so it would just be written as 1.1. And I'm done. Pretty simple. Going on into our next sample problem, Again, look at the denominator, that's a 10. Then I write my whole number, right? So I write 2 point, then I look at my numerator, 2.2. Done. Perfect. Nice and easy. Okay. Going on into our recap. Today we recorded tenths as fractions, okay, as fractions and decimals. Okay. And as much as I wanted to get into hundredths, okay, I didn't quite do it. But anyways, okay, when we move into tomorrow's lesson, you'll see that it's a pretty simple lesson. Alrighty, so for your collaborative work, I want you to focus on the share and show problems 4 through 11 and number 21 on pages 361 through 362. Your homework is to do 9.1. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, please make sure you ask. See you later.